Welcome to the Midnight Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Easton Bennett, alongside my fellow co-host, Tyler Sinden. We are both entrepreneurs who are learning, growing, and building our own businesses, and our goal is to share our experience and knowledge to help you grow and become a successful entrepreneur. Strap in. Before we get started, if you have any questions or things you'd like us to cover, you can email us at themidnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. And if you'd like to join our business Discord, where we talk about wins, business problems, or general questions, shoot us a message and we will get you in there. Tyler, what's going on?
Not too much, Easton. We're grinding. We're trying to find another level of grind here, and that's what we've been up to. What's going on with you?
Not a whole lot. Like you said, been working a lot lately, which is good. Hasn't felt like work, but last couple of days, I think 15, 16-hour days, which is you don't even realize they're flying by like that. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's 9 o'clock at night.
Just loving what you're doing so much, it doesn't even feel like work.
Some of it. Some of it's good. I like getting stuff done recently, which I don't know why, but it's good to just check things off the list.
So is that what's making you not feel like it's work, or what is it?
I'm not sure. Things got to get done, and then I just do them. And then it's like, okay, well, you got no other choice but to do it. So then I do it, and then it's done. And then it's like, oh, it's late. So that's pretty much.
Is it always late?
Yeah. Usually late at night.
Oh, I thought you meant like the project's late.
No, just late, like late at night. I'm like, oh, it's like 9:30 now.
Yeah, I've been getting a couple of those texts from you pretty late at night saying, just wrapped up. Been a long day. Let's grind.
Yep.
Late at night.
Taking a semi-break tonight, playing poker tonight at approximately 4 hours from now. So that'll be a good little break. But yeah, then another shoot tomorrow, another shoot Friday, and then a shoot Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. And then the same thing the week after that. So really, I'm starting to think all the shooting during the day is just meaning that I have to do all the editing at night. And that's kind of the, reason. Or
you get an editor.
Yeah, but I'm not there yet. We got to wait till 2024.
How'd you get all these clients? Seems like you got a lot more projects than usual.
Well, the guy from Bismarck is giving me a lot of them. So that's kind of nice. And then other people, just people in the pipeline, we're starting to work on their projects a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, it's full right now. Can't complain. But it does help with the guy in Bismarck pretty much giving me all of the work that he usually does by himself. So
let's say a hypothetical, if you had the amount of projects that you're currently doing consistently throughout the year, would you have an editor? If so, how many?
How many editors?
If so, how many?
I would have an editor, yes, and probably one, maybe two. I mean, if I could get...
It's not like an overwhelming amount?
No, project-wise?
Yeah, for like an editor.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, if there was someone doing full-time editing, then it's a little bit different because right now my time is very minimal editing, so I can get less done. But if you're working 40 hours a week on editing, I think you can get a lot more done.
Gotcha. Soon enough.
We will know, my boy. Tyler, what's going on with you?
It's just a lot of this personal stuff. I know I sent you a screenshot of it. We had someone reaching out to us saying, get that personal content out there. And we've been doing that. We've been doing a lot. And I was actually looking at some of my analytics today on YouTube. And it's really interesting because I'm getting a lot of views through my shorts, and through the shorts and gaining new subs. I think it's pushing out a lot of my actual YouTube videos. I don't know if you've looked at your metrics much, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going on there. So it's pretty cool and pretty interesting that it's kind of organically creating like this huge snowball effect of all my other past content. And I started filming more YouTube videos because I want to get back into that and creating more content there. So hopefully all this stuff will be able to create a huge snowball, huge compound effect, and just going to spread out everywhere.
Yeah. And I've noticed that a little bit on my end too. A lot of subs are coming in from the YouTube shorts, which is exciting. I got one comment from a guy saying this piece of content brought no value and I'm kind of throwing shade right now and this, the other thing. And then literally the comment right after this was like, this is so inspiring. I love this so much. And I was like, so crazy. You see,
why
Go ahead.
Why do you ask, or why do you say you were throwing shade?
He said he was throwing shade at me. And I was like, okay, sorry, bro. But that, and then the other person commented on it and enjoyed it. So I thought it was kind of funny, but yeah, it's generating a lot of subs. I got a couple of YouTube videos I could probably post. They're in the backlog now, but
freaking post.
Now it's just this fun game of never posting them. It's like, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. It'll be 2027.
That's what I did. That's what I did with I scheduled it maybe for Friday, I think. I don't know when I scheduled it for, but that's pretty much what I did. I did very minimal editing on it, and I was basically saying, let's just get this out. Let's just start. And that's pretty much what I did. It was minimal setup, minimal editing, and just get it out to the world, get me starting, and get that snowball rolling. And I filmed my next one as well. I'm just going to add a little maybe B-roll type of section in it. And then after that, I feel like that's all I'm really going to do with that one as well. Just minimal editing and getting that one out to the world, let people know what's up, and just continue rolling from there, coming up with ideas. I got another idea in the bank, and yeah, it's just a lot of personal content right now. And I feel like it's pretty cool doing this, and it's been actually enjoyable. It took me a little bit to get over the hump of the fear of judgment. But after I started posting a little bit, I got a few people actually reaching out to me and talking to me and messaging about the actual stuff that I'm posting. So that was pretty cool. And that obviously helps with the motivation and getting rid of the fear a little bit, because people are actually engaging with it, and it's helping, or not, I wouldn't really say helping people, but people are engaging with it. So that helps. That's cool to see.
I told you the fear of judgment was just in your mind, and you had to just do it because no one really cares.
I feel like there are people out there that are judging, but who cares at the end of the day?
And you'll never know.
Just focus on yourself.
You'll never know.
Right.
Right. That's good. It's good. Yeah. Personal content's been going good. We started the 30 videos in 30 days. I think as of recording today, we're at day 10, maybe 9 or 10, something like that. I label them by the day, like day 1, 8, 15, 23. So like they're all in one folder. But yeah, I think
Gotcha.
Either today's day 10 or tomorrow's day 10. But basically, we've both hit the mark for 10 days in a row now. So we're still doing good. Last night I think I got mine up at like 11:50. It was a long day. And I knew it was going to be that way because I was vlogging the day. And then I was going to post the vlog of that day that night. So I knew it was going to be a long one. But I finished the video.
You got to get ahead.
Not if it's a vlog, you post it the same day.
No, you got to get ahead. No. I'm way ahead right now. I'm close to a week ahead right now. I got shit scheduled way out ahead. I keep sending you screenshots, and I go influencing over here.
I don't like to batch them all. I don't want to schedule them. I want to do it the day of, because that's the consistency thing. I can make 7 videos today and then not do it every single day. Whereas if I'm making them every single day, which I assume you still are, but when I do one a day, then it keeps me on track to stay consistent. So.
I did just film one today, but I believe one of the main reasons I am trying to get ahead right now is just because next week I'm going to be off, or I'm going to be in Colorado for a company retreat. So it's going to be a little bit more tough to actually come up with some content there, just because I'm going to be with the team and I'm going to be in an Airbnb with the team. So it's going to be a little bit more tough to do that. I'm going to have to find some extra hours. And that's another reason why we are filming this a little bit ahead, if people don't realize.
So you can't cheat the system, won't. Tyler. See, I could make 30 talking head videos and then just be like, all right, I'm good for the month.
Yeah, but that's different. I'm not really, I am in a sense, some of my stuff, I guess, is talking head, but at the same time, I like the type of stuff you're doing. And it's similar to what I'm doing as well, where it's somewhat vlog, I feel like you could do a kit review, or you could do some other stuff but I'm not a fan of like the talking head, and at the same time, it's more so documenting, as opposed to like giving advice.
No, I agree.
I think that's where we're a little bit different. Not you and I, but from that type of content where it's talking head, where it's like giving advice. That's what I've thought about before recently, because everyone's doing that, and it's like, how do you differentiate yourself from everyone else when everyone's doing the same thing? So everyone right now is pretty much just giving advice, talking head straight to the camera. how do you differentiate yourself? And I think what we're doing is differentiating ourselves because we're storytelling. We're documenting and telling a story with what we're doing. And it's not saying this is what you got to do. We're talking straight to the camera and giving advice to people, because I feel like people are starting to get annoyed with that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I was getting annoyed at making them, that's for sure. But it is, it's interesting to see because after 9 or 10 days, I'm looking at the content. I'm like, all right, what's working a little bit better? And then I'm like, I wonder why this one has 5,000 views on everything, and then these ones only have like 1,000. And you kind of look at the video like, okay, what's in this video? What would make this engaging? So it's good to have that instead of just talking heads where it's like, here's this, and then the next day here's this. So I do like the variation that we're shooting with. So I think that's going well.
Yeah, it's interesting that I'm looking at metrics too, and I've been sharing it with you, that TikTok's been my best platform, but I don't get the views right away. It'll go up to, say, 200 impressions within the first 24 hours, and then it's going to be nothing for the next day or two. And then after that, it starts getting more views, which is really interesting.
I wonder if it's because of your
skyrockets
followers.
Up.
Because you have a hefty amount of followers compared to...
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think it's just getting republished back out into the algorithm, the stratosphere of TikTok.
No one really knows what, honestly, the secrets are. I just post stuff. I don't even, like, you are almost very analytical where you look, and I feel like you look at it all the time. I just post it, check every now and then. I'm like, oh, that video did good. Oh, that one sucked. And then just flow with it, where I feel like you're really breaking her down.
I somewhat do the same as you, but I've just been glancing at that a little bit because it's interesting, because the one video, it just started popping off today, and then I asked you, should I reply to this comment through the video? And I thought it was a good strategy to do it because the video was starting to pop off, and I posted it, I think, 2 or 3 days ago. So it's just interesting how it just continually does that. It's 200 impressions. Like, I'll post one tonight, I'll get 200 impressions, and then maybe in 2 days it's going to get 1,000, 5,000 impressions. Yep. So it's just weird. So that's what's piquing my interest. I'm not going on Instagram and looking at it. Instagram has a little bit more metrics, I think. Maybe TikTok does too, but I know Instagram has the metric where you can see the percentage view and the drop off and everything. So I've looked at that, but I never really watched the video back. So I think it's just because I don't get as many impressions on Instagram. I don't care as much. So
yeah, I don't think, I like to wait till there's a bigger sample size, and then after 30 days I'll look at it, and if there's any spikes, like, oh, I wonder what I posted that day, what, and then kind of look at it there. But no wrong way to do it. Tyler, what else you got going on?
Yeah, the Google Ads client, we are rolling with them now. We met last week, and I made all the adjustments, or I made a lot of adjustments to their campaign. Somewhat going in there every day, making some small minor adjustments. I'm trying to get access to her back end so I can... Conversion tracking is not set up, and I need to figure out how to wipe that smirk off your face.
Yeah,
the back end of her website, and so I can set up conversion tracking properly, because it's not set up right now. It's just set up for calls, and with calls, Google will just kind of throw anyone in there that's going to call. So at the same time, it might do the same thing with lead forms, but we have no form of them actually tracking through that. So I need to get back there to figure out how to set up conversion tracking and making sure Google's tracking that properly. So hopefully we get some good results and we can scale her campaigns up and go from there.
Going well though?
Yeah, it's still fairly early in it. I'm trying to get rid of a lot of the negative keywords and stuff that people ask her, because she says a lot of people will call and ask about her competitors and be like, are you this person? And then it's like, no. And then it's like, can I have their number? It's like, what are you doing? Why? Well, like, yeah, right. Like, you can Google that shit. So yeah, I think it's going pretty good. I'm interested because it's such a small sample size. It's been like less than a week. So it's tough to really be able to gauge how well it's currently doing so far. So hopefully within a month, we'll be able to see a good positive direction and with what we're doing. So hopefully we'll get some good results there, and we'll be able to share that.
Good. We'll have some updates on that in the coming weeks. Won't be until Tyler's done with his marathon and back from his trip from Colorado, but good to hear. I think I decided I want to buy a new camera. The C70 is the one I've landed on. I've watched about every single video on YouTube I can. Just, I don't know. I think I'm going to rent it and then rent the lenses that I also want to get, which are the DZO like Cinema Primes, which is, it's not like a photo lens where it's got autofocus. It's like the big housings that they use on like cinema movies. So that's the next big investment that I think I want to make. Hopefully that's coming in the next month or two, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
How come you just want to rent those and not buy them?
Oh, I'm going to rent them just once to use them, make sure I like it before I spend, I think everything that I want, which I don't know if I'll go with this. The camera's like $5,500, and then the lens kit is like $13,100 or something like that. But it comes with 10 lenses. Do I really need to get that one?
Wow.
They also sell like a 6 or a 7.
You're going to use like
kit.
one lens.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think I might actually downsize it into the 6 or 7 lens kit. I don't even know if I need that many, but it comes in a cool Pelican case where the lenses actually sit in there. So I think I'm going to get the 21, 35, 50, 85, and then maybe like a 120 or something like that. So
nice. All prime.
Yeah.
The first few.
Yep.
Nice. That's sweet.
All prime. So it'll be a change of pace for filming stuff, but I'm realizing like the more shoots I go on, I rarely ever use autofocus anyways. And it's and it's funny that that's what I thought too, because I was thinking about it. I'm like, am I going to miss autofocus? Which I could still use the lenses I have if I need autofocus. But the main things I shoot, like talking head stuff, I don't do autofocus during interviews because I don't want it to miss focus or try to track something in the middle of a conversation. And that's fairly standard because they're sitting there. If I'm tracking someone on a gimbal, I suppose I'll do that, but I rarely do that. And even when I do that, I'm usually around the same distance where I said doo-doo. I'm around the I'm around the same distance, so I don't really have to use autofocus. So I've actually gotten accustomed to not using it as much as I can. So I don't think it'll be a huge transition. And then once I make that purchase, I want to get 3 podcast cameras that don't stop at 30-minute recording, and then we'll be set.
There you go. Only a few more purchases.
Yeah.
Do you have so for me, I had my reward of my beats. Are you going to make this a reward for yourself where you hit a certain number or anything like that? Or is it just going to be spur of the moment one day?
I'm not going to order it and then put it on a shelf for 2 months like you did. If I order it, I'll use it.
My situation was different. It was on sale.
Yeah. If it was on sale, I probably would, but I'll probably get it. Like I can't remember if I was telling you this or not, but the next 2 months, there's like a lot of invoices coming in. So once I have those, then it'll be a little bit easier to spend that kind of money. Right now, I don't really want to. So I'm kind of waiting for that. Probably by the end of September, I would think, but hopefully sooner than that. And then by the end of 2024, I was talking to my tax guy the other day, and I was thinking, if I have like a big tax bill at the end of the year, let's say it's $20,000. How can I get out of that? Right. I don't want to pay $20,000 in taxes. So I could go spend something to offset it. I could go spend $30,000 in equipment and then to offset the $20K, or I could, contribute $20,000 into a self-employment retirement account or whatever it is. So I was trying to figure out some ways around that. So I think there'll be some opportunity at the end of the year to make some more of those investments.
Sweet. Right on. Yeah, I know you mentioned this for me. I got my marathon coming up this weekend, and that also brings up, I'm pretty sure, I don't think I've touched on it, but I just signed up for an Ironman this past week. So I don't know why I'm so fired up about starting to train for that. Every day I've been thinking I'll just go for a bike ride. And I don't want to right now just because I got my marathon coming up, and I don't want to risk doing anything or not really. I don't think I would get injured, but I tiring my muscles or whatever it is. I just want to be ready for this marathon. And once this marathon comes, Ironman training. Ooh, boy.
How long do you have to recover after a marathon usually?
Yeah. We'll find out.
What does the online say?
So after my half marathon, I was out for like a good 5 days. Like I could not walk. I still tried to run because I had a run streak going, and I think that ended up injuring my knee, and then that basically put me out for 6 months. And so we don't want that to happen. What's been happening on my current runs, which are nowhere close to what I'm going to be doing at this marathon, which is so the closest I did to this marathon was a 2-hour run with the last 60 minutes being at marathon pace. And I got that's 3 hours, and that's 21 miles. So a marathon's going to be an extra 5 miles on top of that. So after that run, I'm usually sore for about 30 to 2 hours at 30 minutes to 2 hours after that, and it's mainly all in my calves, and then after that I'm fine. So we'll see how much more pain I'm in after this marathon.
I'm excited to see how it goes. That's Saturday, right?
Yes, it is.
There you go, and that's why
you're gonna drive up. You said you were gonna drive up on one of these episodes a little while ago.
Yeah, I lied. No,
I didn't expect you to.
I'll be there in spirit. You'd be thinking of me on mile 24.
Right. Oh, so one thing that I've been thinking about, Alex Hormozi's book drop is the same time as my marathon, so you're gonna have to do that for me.
Oh yeah, I'll be in it
signed up for
myself
that?
though. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
How do I get it in for you?
Maybe do it on your iPad.
Like,
I don't know if there's gonna be like special giveaways like during it, so I don't know what's gonna be happening.
yeah, I'll let you know.
You'll let me know.
Like, it was really cool, man. You missed it.
Just record it.
Good. Anything else to update us on before we get into this week's news story?
No, that's everything.
Cool. So this week, super, simple news story kind of. We didn't do a ton of research on this one, but I saw Elon tweeted something about integrating seamless video into X. So interesting to see where that goes. The tweet said seamless video implementation is going well, or it's going good, or whatever he said. And he said once it is excellent, that's when it'll be released to the public. So he wants to make sure it's excellent before obviously we get it and can before we get it
that.
and can play with it. But where do you think they're going to go with this? Because I assume seamless video, he's thinking, you scroll from one video to the next, kind of like TikTok or Instagram Reels.
That's what I thought it was when I was looking at your notes, and when you were putting it down, it just seems like he's trying to compete with them, and that's what everyone's doing right now. It's YouTube Shorts, TikToks, Reels. I think Facebook does it too. It just seems everyone's trying to do it, so gotta compete with the big guys. So maybe we're gonna have to start posting on X.
I've been posting a little bit on there, and I've also been posting a little bit on Threads the past probably 2-3 days. Basically, just whatever I'm putting on Instagram and TikTok, I'm putting that also on Threads. But the caption, there's been a couple long captions I've had, or the script that I use for the voiceover, I turn that into a thread on Twitter or Threads. So that's kind of a cool reutilization of the script. Is just to each line of the script is just a different tweet under itself. So.
Notice anything there?
A couple conversations have started, and then Threads, I've gotten a few followers and a few likes, but I don't even want to think about how to judge that platform or how to make it work or not work. So I just post it on there. If someone sees it, then awesome. It takes 27 seconds. So
yeah, I deleted Threads.
Yeah, it's whatever. I do like the interface for posting though. Like scrolling through it looks like X now it's hard to see the full size video where it crops it on top and bottom a little bit. Whereas Threads is just like, it's like TikTok, but it shrinks. So your full video is showing on screen. There's just text, above and below it. So it's like Twitter and TikTok mashed into one. It's kind of cool, but I still hate using it.
So Threads,
I'll send you a screenshot after this of what it looks like.
It's just stupid though, because they decided to create this new platform, which is basically the same thing as their other platforms.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
It's a little bit different. It's like a Twitter and TikTok mashup.
It's like a Facebook.
Facebook sucks.
It's like
all
a
around.
Facebook.
Facebook's for old people.
It's a different. I know it's a different interface for Facebook, is what it is.
Yeah, I mean they all have this.
Is it not?
Yeah, but they're all different interfaces. Otherwise, they'd all be the same app. But they all pretty much are the same thing.
I wouldn't classify Instagram as because the premise of Facebook, you can either update your status or you can post a picture or post a video. And then updating your status and posting the thread is very. Where do you post your status on Instagram?
Well, that's the only one that you can't post. I'd say Instagram's
where do you post your status on TikTok?
I would say Twitter, Facebook, and Threads are the same, and then Instagram and TikTok are the same.
But the thing is, the same owner owns Facebook and Threads, so
he owns Instagram too, though,
which is different.
Yeah, it's all photo, video, and then if you can post a status or a tweet or a post, awesome. But they all have the same idea of what they want to do.
Attention.
Yep. Attention. Anything? All right. We got nothing else on that. I'm not even going to let you answer on that one. We're going to be talking about 1 year of podcasting today. This is episode 52, which is kind of exciting. We've been doing this for 1 straight year. Just going to kind of go over some of the things we've learned, some memories from the podcast. Tyler, what have been some of the biggest things you've learned? We've been doing this for 1 whole year now. It's kind of crazy to think that.
Right. I think one of the biggest things that I don't know if it's I learned it, but I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed is my communication skills have increased quite a bit. And I think it also improved my confidence as well, just because I'm talking a lot more and I'm talking a lot about other areas of business or whatever it might be. So I think it's given me a lot more confidence, and my communication skills have increased quite a bit. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, definitely talking more helps. I think in the beginning we were fumbling over our words a little bit, and we figured out how to not talk over each other, at least get a coherent sentence out, which is good. So that is the benefit of podcasting. Even if nobody watches or nobody listens, you're at least practicing the communication side. We're also practicing the research side on getting notes down and just having conversations like this. So I think it helps all around. But yeah, I've definitely seen that the conversational aspect of it is getting not benefited from, but it's, there are benefits being gotten. As I speak about communication, I totally butcher a sentence.
Yeah. What was the first thing you said there? I didn't want to interrupt you because you're like, you said something about, you said something about we're getting better at not talking over each other. And then you said something after that. And I was like, and then I wanted to say something. And I was like, I don't want to interrupt him right after he says that. But I can't remember what you said because, oh man.
Fumbling on my words, communication skills, whether people watch it or not.
Yeah. Because we started, mainly me, I don't know, maybe a little bit you, but we notice a lot of the words and sayings that we say a lot of the times. And then we're trying to get rid of those and eliminate those in our vocabulary. I forget some of the first ones that we tried to eliminate. And I think we've done a good job because I don't think we say them anymore. I can't even remember what they are. But there's a lot of other stuff that I'm trying to focus on personally is taking pauses as opposed to saying ums. And that's been a big issue for me in the past. And another big issue I still struggle with is saying like a lot. So I'm trying not to say that as much. And the other one is saying I believe as opposed to I think, because then people actually believe what you're saying because you're more convicted in it. So those are a few things that I think has also helped us both throughout this process.
I still say I think a lot, and that's the main one that I catch myself saying all the time. Yeah, you said it at the end of that sentence. That sounds like you could have said I believe right there. But yeah, that's the biggest one that I use and shouldn't use as much as I do. And then the other thing, like you said, with the ums, I try to cut those out as much as possible. It feels weird when you take that pause, but you almost need it, and you sound, I think the more you do it, I believe the more you do it, the more you recognize that you're doing it, and then you get faster because you hear all of these people that are on podcasts and TED Talks. They do it. They don't have these pauses, and they're also not saying ums. So I think it's just, I think it's repetition, and then eventually you get that out of your language.
Well, the pauses are intentional at the same time too. It's to create and provoke emotion within their speech. So they pause so you can take in the information that they say. And that's one thing that they do really well with. And another thing is, it's better to have the pause than to say, because what you're basically doing is just filling that empty space with some sound, because you're not cool with silence. So you're filling it with this noise, but the better choice is to actually pause and then think about what you're going to say and then get it out.
We should fill it with a different noise. Instead of it'd be like,
create our own
Yeah, if possible.
No
we
one
could
will
get
know what
that.
it means.
We could get that movement rocking. I'd be down for that.
I was just talking there and I was using my hands a little bit. And I don't know if you've been on TikTok and saw the comment that I tagged you in. Did you see that?
Yes. Which I watched it and I wasn't sure what they were alluding to with the comment. I thought they were talking about Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So I don't know. I don't know if it's because like
was I talking a lot with my hands?
You were. I think you were moving them a little bit, but it wasn't anything crazy. But it was like, because like in Ricky Bobby, like I don't know what to do with my hands or whatever it is. So so yeah, I was just talking a little bit there, and I was using my hands, and that's all I was thinking about in the back of my head.
Yeah, I watched it and I was like, what's going on here? But I was going to comment on it and then I didn't because I didn't really know what they were alluding to. But yeah, that makes sense. I'm glad we were on the same page there. As far as...
Should have just said Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, Ricky Bobby. That's what I got to use now. As far as some other things, this is one thing that I think we both... enjoy. One thing that I think we both benefited from is we started taking notes. I don't know at what episode we started doing that, but the first few that we shot were off the cuff and they were not as good as they could have been. So once we started taking notes, I think the podcast got better. Might not have shown in view wise, but for us feeling that the podcast got better, I think it did.
Yeah, it gives us more confidence. We did an episode on preparation, and that just gives you a lot more confidence going into whatever you're doing. Say you have a client call, client meeting, or you have a podcast, whatever it might be. If you're coming prepared, you're going to be a lot more confident, a lot more prepared to be able to speak on the topics that you're actually going to be talking about. So it's just a lot better to be prepared and come up with those notes, do a little bit of research going into it, especially job interviews too, whatever it might be. It's just very beneficial to just come prepared, do some research.
We've also switched up the format a little bit. So we started taking notes. The beginning, we didn't really know how this would go, and we knew it would be a learning process, but we were just ripping things from the cuff. We started doing notes, which added a lot to the podcast, and then we also added a few other things. Tyler, you want to touch on some of those?
So before we get into that, I do want to touch on one other thing about adding the notes. Someone commented on one of our videos, and we appreciate anyone that does comment on it. So if you are out there, you are listening, you are watching, we appreciate you. You can leave any feedback that you do have. But someone told us that, hey, it would be a lot better if you had notes or information and came prepared. And we took that feedback, we implemented it, and I think we're able to, that leveled up our delivery of the podcast a lot more. So I think that's just one thing that I did want to touch on real quick. But yeah, we did switch up the formatting of the show. I don't really remember like our first episodes, but yeah, we added a few things in. We added the news stories. I don't know. I thought it would potentially be beneficial that we can touch on current events that are currently going on. And then maybe people that might pique people's interest, that we're talking on something that's currently going on. So that was my thought behind it. What have your thoughts been so far with the news stories?
Yeah, I think we added that because we wanted to garner a bit more attention around. People might not care about us and our businesses as much, but if we can at least report on things like, oh, this is happening in the news, maybe we can get a couple more people that are interested in that. And we can use that in the title to stay current. And maybe someone's like, oh, I want to hear about Apple. And then they get forced into watching 40 more minutes of us ramble.
We'll change our podcast name to the Midnight News Channel or something like that.
Newsmen. Yeah, but I like the news section.
Yeah, and I think it's also trying to deliver any value that we can potentially gather from it. So say from today's episode, it looks like X is going to be implementing a lot of the stuff that Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and YouTube already has in there. So maybe it might be good for someone out there trying to grow your personal following to hop on X while it's starting to get out there, starting new, because a lot of the new stuff that does come out in the markets, they try and push it really hard to make it actually viable, because that's what Instagram did with Reels when it first came out. They pushed that stuff so hard. So maybe it's just something to be good and to be aware of when maybe you're trying to grow and you're struggling on Instagram and TikTok to grow. So maybe trying out a new platform like X when they're first coming out and being the first mover would be beneficial.
We're giving you stuff to talk about at bars when people think you're uninteresting. So just write all these things we talk about down. You could be like, Apple lost their $3 trillion crown. I think we said that last week or the week before. So yeah, just thank us for that. We're allowing you to have better bar stories and coffee table stories and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at the next one here, and it reminded me that I don't have a business idea next, or I don't have a business idea yet. But yeah, we also added business ideas.
Yeah, business ideas.
I thought that segment would be pretty cool.
Those have been fun. They're sometimes difficult, sometimes not. I'm pretty, what's the word when you're indifferent?
Impartial.
That's the word I'm looking for. Yes, I don't love them. I don't hate them. Sometimes it's a nuisance to think of, like Tyler's probably thinking right now since he doesn't have one for this episode. But yeah, they're fun to do. And when you do have a fun one like Gas Pass, that's probably my claim to fame right now. Then you can ride on that horse until that horse dies. And it's not dead yet. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't mind it. It gets your brain stirring too at the same time. And then thinking about how you can implement different things. And maybe one thing that we're missing from it is when we are brainstorming these ideas is coming up with ways that we can implement those ideas within our own businesses. Maybe it might be a little bit tough, obviously, right now, as it's just us two, like we're solopreneurs at this point. Whereas once we have a team, then we can start branching that out and say, hey, we had this idea. What do you think of that? Do you think you'd be able to implement this? Do you think you'd be able to implement that? So I think that would be pretty cool down the road. Yeah, start taking some of the ideas from the business ideas and try to pivot that into whatever our businesses are. I don't know how you could use Gas Pass into a Bennett Creative Media subscription-based video service that you don't have to do anything for. You just drive up. Someone films you. Rentals.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, but then we also have this backlog of business ideas that we can do once one of them fails. And then we're like, hey, we got 52 ideas actually. But yeah, business ideas have been good.
I'm really trying to come up with an idea right now, but I can't think of anything.
I think we've went other episodes without one. So if you want to use your get out of jail free card, have we?
I don't. What?
Have we or have we not? No,
I don't think so.
It's not either.
I think once we started it, we've been really consistent, because it would be like a week when if say you don't have one, you would pass the baton to me.
I think I might have one I could do.
Yeah, I was looking at it right now.
See the portal.
Okay. All right, moving on.
Save Tyler's
What's
ass.
the
Return the favor.
What's the last thing that we added here? This was a little bit of your doing.
Yeah, call to action at the beginning. We realized that after looking at some of the analytics, we realized that not a lot of people were getting to the very end of the episode when we pretty much plug, hey, give us a rating and review and comment and all that fun stuff. So we started doing that at the beginning and plug in the Discord. Mm-hmm. So that was a nice little implementation. doesn't take much on our end, but we realized that probably 30, 40 episodes in.
Yeah, it was pretty recent that did get added. And I know a lot of people adding it at the beginning, I think is fine because a lot of people might skip past the intro. And I know I do that with a lot of different podcasts. There's a lot of people that might have like 5 minutes of advertisements, or there's other podcasts that might have a 30-second intro and 1-2 tap past that. Yeah. And so I think if people realize that, they might just do that, but otherwise they might just listen to it and listen to your beautiful voice.
That beautiful intro voice. So yeah, that's one thing we added. Hopefully you guys are taking tips from this. If you are wanting to start your own podcast, these are maybe a couple of things you can implement, put your call to action at the beginning, add a couple different segments. Really, this is obviously us going through the last year of podcasting, but still want you guys to take a little bit from this episode.
Yeah. And I knew it was going to take a while. Still know it's going to take a while. Still know we're a work in progress. And things definitely take a lot longer than you expect. And honestly, I think over the past few weeks, we've been seeing some decent traction. And honestly, that's a little bit motivating. But at the same time, I'm really enjoying just these conversations, and just talking it over with you is kind of like a mini mastermind.
Yeah, we usually do our masterminds Friday mornings, which we haven't done in a month or so probably. But this is almost like it's a backup plan for our masterminds, because at the beginning of the episodes, we do talk about business updates. I was thinking about this the other day, actually. It's even if no one watches this podcast or doesn't go anywhere, it's still nice to have 30 years down the road where you can say, oh, what was I doing in 2022? In March, and then you can go there and you can look, oh, this is what I was doing, right? So it's good to have that documentation down there, and I could be like, oh, I was still trying to hire an editor at that time. Maybe I have a team of 4 editors at that point. So yeah, it's good to document even if no one is watching it, but things do take a lot longer than you think, and I think we knew that going in, which has helped us continue these every week.
Did we say, I know you've talked about this in the past before, where when you start something, you say, I'm going to do a minimum of this. Did we ever say that? How long we're going to stick with this for, or just never quit? Or what are your thoughts?
I don't think we agreed like on a number. I think 50 maybe, did we agree on?
I don't really remember. I just remember getting this. I just remember getting this mic and then sending a picture to you. And I say, when are we starting our podcast? And then you said, let's do it.
Yeah. I don't think we ever agreed on a number, but I don't think we need to agree on a number because it's no stopping point. So if we get to a point one day when we just think, man, this is getting old, if we're doing it for 3 years and we're still getting 6 people listening, then maybe we can hang it up. But even if we're enjoying it, then we don't have to. So
yeah. That's one thing that I do have here is the person who loves walking will walk farther than the person who loves the destination. And I think that's a big reason that's kept us going, because I don't know about you, but I've really enjoyed this process and just creating these podcast episodes and just putting it out to the world. Clipping, I'm starting to not like as much, but I don't know if you've noticed. I do everything's really consistent now. At the same time, it's just find, say, 2 to 5 clips, and then all the text is the same. I have tried some different graphics and different colors and different stuff like that, and I just found that it just did not matter. So I'm just trying to find the best information and then just put it together as quick as possible. So that's one thing I'm not loving.
I get that. I did clips for 2 other podcasts I do, and there's a real burnout where now I've gotten to the point where I stopped doing clips for them for the longest time because I just couldn't do it anymore. And now it's to the point where
I noticed a few recently.
Yeah. So they hounded me enough to get back into them, which they don't understand the process of it. I wish they did. And
tell them to do it.
I have. I was like, you guys can learn how to edit and do them.
Send them tutorial videos.
Yeah. And I said that, and one of them guys said, well, I don't even have a computer that could do it. I'm like, yeah, you do. You have a gaming PC. You could definitely get DaVinci Resolve on there. So yeah, it's better to just have it quick. Done is better than perfect is what you have to think in those situations when you are cutting clips. But yeah, it does get a little bit tedious. Even editing the podcast, like it's not awesome work. You're not excited like, oh, look at this cool pod. Like, it's still the same menial tasks you do every single time. But like we said, consistency is key. Plus, even though we're doing it, this is the other thing we have on there. Doing the podcast does motivate us to do other things. Excuse me. You know, we started doing the video challenge, 30 videos, 30 days. That would have probably never came if it wasn't for this podcast. And there's other things that we've done that probably wouldn't have came if it wasn't for the podcast. So even if we're not directly benefiting exactly from the podcast, there are some back end things that are helping us.
Yeah, and this is something similar to what you're talking about here, where we had the episode on regurgitating information as opposed to actually speaking from experience. And I think that's helped us out a lot, where we aren't just saying stuff that we read, saying stuff that we heard from other people. I think we started out a little bit like that, at least I did. And now we're trying to pivot a little bit. And then the stuff that we actually say makes us want to hold ourselves accountable to actually go out there and do it ourselves, as opposed to just hearing it and saying it from someone else and not actually doing it from experience. And that's actually what my YouTube video is on.
Yeah, I believe that
Similar.
Everything you start in the beginning, whether it's a podcast, I don't know if I got something stuck in my throat here, but whether it's a podcast or YouTube channel or whatever videos, you're going to draw inspiration from people you've seen or people you consume a lot of content from. And that's kind of inevitable that you might want to repeat information you've heard. But once you work through that, it's easier to find your own voice and easier to, if it's a podcast, give your own advice or have these conversations that aren't necessarily just other influencers repeating their information. So it does take a little bit to work through. You just have to create that content, create whatever you're doing, and then you can battle through that regurgitation.
Yeah, it's more of a documentation as opposed to advice, is in my opinion. Especially trying to give advice from stuff that you're not knowledgeable on, it can be pretty tough.
Yeah, we started to flip it almost more so whatever we're going through business-wise at the moment. Like when you were starting all your new frame stuff, we did podcast episodes on things you were going through, you know, pricing. We did an episode on pricing. Then we did it on client experience. So we were just going through things that we're actually going through rather than let's talk about a topic that we think the audience will want. We're more so documenting what we're currently going through, and then it's easier to talk on it as well.
And one of probably my favorite, I just never forget this episode, but it's probably one of my favorite episodes, is talking about building a personal brand and how to grow online, episode 36. And one of the reasons I think it sticks there, there's one main reason, but the other reason is because when I was clipping this episode, I had a lot of really good clips, and I think it's because we have a lot of experience here, and that's where a lot of the good information came from, because we had so much experience there. But I think because it's one of my favorite episodes, because we got in a little heated debate towards the end there, and we were actually talking about this the other day. So that's just one of my favorite episodes, just because of the heated debate at the end.
Yeah, it's always good to have friendly banter back and forth. We don't always agree on everything on the show. I mean, even the beginning of this show, we were, going back and forth a little bit. So it is nice. We can't all just agree with each other, because then that would be boring, right? We want to divide this audience. We want to make sure you guys pick a side.
Who do you like better, Team Tyler or Team Easton?
Exactly. But yeah,
there's only one right answer.
But we've learned a lot through doing the podcast for the year. And we've talked about this, that it's a good weekly overview to sit down, talk about what's going on in our business. And now that we've changed the format to talking about things we're currently experiencing, I think the podcast episodes are flowing a lot better, because we do understand the topic a little bit more, because we're actually going through that, or we've experienced that. So year of podcasting, I've really enjoyed it. Here's to another year. Tyler, anything else you got on the year of podcasting? A little send off.
I don't personally, but I have a question for you, because this was your third podcast that you started. You have two other podcasts that you've started, and you've obviously been going for over a year. Do you have any takeaways from those two podcasts?
It's different because the podcasts are so different. So the ones we've been doing for Three Dudes, which are one topic, what I've learned there is that the research almost matters less in that scenario. You just need the facts to spark a conversation. Whereas we like to do more in-depth research, so we know what to present information to you. That one, we just want surface level information so we can have, it's a comedy podcast for those that haven't watched or listened. And we just need something to spark a conversation for us to start telling stories. And the other podcast is different because it's a business podcast where each episode is a different interview. So what I've learned with that is it's a lot of the same episodes, a lot of the same questions. And we actually filmed one yesterday. And I want to transition it more into a Joe Rogan style where Joe Rogan doesn't have a list of podcast questions, right? He's not like, okay, let's go to question number 3. It's more so, hey, here's some talking points of things we can talk about. And maybe it's in the back of your mind, or I have my iPad screen in front of me, but it's more so going with the conversation and talking about whatever comes up rather than we need to talk about community. We need to talk about how you started, why the business is named the way it is. And the conversation went a lot better, I thought. So through those podcasts, I've learned that depending on what the podcast is, it's a very different format, but consistency is key to building an audience. We've built an audience on all 3 podcasts now, and they're all different audiences, but really, I think consistency is the main thing. You just show up every single week and people enjoy it. And then you just never stop filming ever until you die.
I love it. The one thing that I would say though with your business podcast is I feel like you have to talk about the community because it's based around Minot. And I know some of your listeners are based out of Minot and they might be tuning in to see the different entrepreneurs or different businesses in Minot that they could potentially be supporting and getting behind. So I think you're kind of stuck there, but at the same time, I think you can still do research onto them. You might, I don't know if you've ever heard of him or looked into him, but Tim Ferriss, he does extremely good research on people, and then he'll just ask them like really in-depth questions about them, their growing up, whatever it is. He'll even reach out to some of their friends, like if they have mutual friends, they'll reach out to him and be like, hey, what's some dirt on this guy, or give me a question that I should ask him about, or give me something that I should ask him about. So maybe it's finding some mutual friends that you and your guests do have, and then saying, hey, do you have anything that would be a really good talking point for the episode?
Yeah, and it's less of like not talking about the community stuff. We still talk about that for sure because it is focused around Minot business owners. It's more so not reading from a script of a question and asking the question organically when you start about, or when you start talking about starting a business in Minot. Well, why Minot? What's it like in Minot? Why'd you choose Minot instead of this? Instead of, how has your experience been opening and operating a business in Minot, North Dakota? Like that sounds too clinical and too processed. So still the same format of questions. It's just more free flowing. But yeah,
makes sense.
I like the Tim Ferriss idea. I know he does extreme research. I think he has, his book is something with Titans in it. Master of Titans.
Tools of Titans. Yeah. There's 5-hour work week, 5-hour chef. Yeah. 5-hour.
I've got Tools of Titans.
Or is it 4-hour? The 4-hour. Sorry. Yeah. It's 4-hour. 4-hour work week, 4-hour chef.
I got the Tool of Titans.
Yeah, I got the Tools. I have. Is that the one where he just has the book of all the? No, I don't think
it's all the different.
Oh, Tribe of Mentors. Tribe of Mentors is the one I have.
It's all the different. It's like stories of like, okay, here's a Mark Cuban story. Here's a Jessica Alba story. And then they kind of go through how they built their fortune. It's thick too. It's a big freaking book.
All of his books are massive. You want to move on to your business idea that you're saving me this week on?
I think we've talked about this previously, but it's been long enough where you guys have forgotten. So this is called Client Hub. This is called Gas Pass. This is called Client Hub. And basically, I wish there was an app or a platform of some sort that you could implement into your business where it's almost like a client portal, where thinking about it in terms of video, I could send my client this backend portal, bennettcreativemedia.com/clients, and then they would go there, type in their username and login, and then they would have everything. So on the side, there'd be like, okay, here's a little drop-down box for your deliverables. You click in there, you have all of your videos there. You can also look at any strategies, any questions. You can leave comments in there. So revisions, that's what I'm going for, not the comments, but you can leave revisions. So it's like, okay, here's the videos in the queue that need to be revised or whatever it is. And everything is in this back end portal. They can go in there. All of their invoices will be in there. All the contracts will be in there. Basically, it's a substitute for having to use Dropbox, having to use Google Drive, having to use these different Frame.io for getting comments and revisions. it's a substitute to have it personally branded to your own company, which I assume the high-end companies, they probably just have these with a coder that does it. But for people like me, you know, I obviously am not going to pay someone to build out this $100,000 website, but it'd be cool if there was a plugin or some sort of extension that I could put on the website that clients could use, and it was Bennett Creative Media branded. And then it looked, instead of, you know, Client Hub app, and then they go there and it's all Client Hub. So does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. So it's pretty much just Google Drive, except you can brand it personally to your branding, and then it can add comments. Is that pretty much what you're saying? Yeah.
It's almost like a Google Drive, Frame.io, Dropbox mashup. But I think it'd be cool if it was customizable. You know, I don't want the same interface. Some clients might be, maybe you can create templates where this is a retainer client, right? So we work with them on a monthly basis. Maybe their interface looks different than a one-off client. So something where even the client, something else you could add is they go to your back end. Right now I'm sending like a form when I get a new client. It's called like a kickoff form, and they fill out like, hey, here's this, that, the other thing. Here's an onboarding video where they could go to the back end website and do the same thing. So I think having everything piled into one, almost the client experience, if you could mash up everything, all the apps and softwares and experiences you're putting into that into one, that would be ideal.
Gotcha. I don't know. I feel like there's either something out there or everyone just uses Google Drive or I wouldn't say Dropbox. Dropbox I feel like is a lot different.
Dropbox is pretty much like Google Drive.
Is it? I don't use Dropbox.
Yeah.
I thought it was just photos.
No, Dropbox is any documents. And then it's basically you create your own folder structure and everything. I don't like using Dropbox because I use all Google products like Gmail and mainly Gmail, Google. But yeah, I try not to use Dropbox. A lot of clients I work with use Dropbox, but if we can mash all those things into one, and mainly it's a branding, you know, it doesn't feel very professional when you send someone to, drive.google.com to go view their stuff. So if you can somehow integrate that into, looks like I'm working with a high-end technology company that's got this whole, you know what I mean? It just gives that perception of a little bit more.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know if it would make someone, I don't know, maybe.
It's subconscious. You'll know. Once you start going through all the client experience in a couple months, you'll understand and be like, man, that Client Hub was a really good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. When I say it, I'll believe
We'll revisit it. I could probably honestly do it on my back end website, but it'd be a lot of work.
Yeah, probably would be.
We'll get there.
I just don't know where you would get the comments though.
The comments, yeah, it's hard to leave comments on videos. That's Frame.io's got that mastered, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So maybe we can integrate it in there.
You just need Frame.io and Google Drive to collaborate then, it seems like.
I should get them in a meeting in a conference room. I'll set it up. Tyler, anything else on
send them a Teams call.
1 year of podcasting?
It's been fun. It's been a journey. Looking forward to the next year.
Looking forward to, we'll talk again in episode 104.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
That's episode 52 of The Midnight Entrepreneur. If you have any questions you'd like us to cover or answer, email us at themidnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. If you found value in this content or found this entertaining, share this with a friend or post it on your story. And if you really enjoyed the show, we'd love a rating and a review wherever you're listening. Talk to you guys next week for another episode of The Midnight Entrepreneur.
When you look at people who are successful, you'll find that they aren't the people who are motivated, but have consistency in their motivation. Arsene Wenger.
Arson, like fire. Interesting name.